Welcome back to Y2K.
Where we've successfully navigated the hitbox of that save point.
Gosh, I know I just look like a dumbass, but I promise you it's a lot harder to find that hitbox than it looks.
We're seeing
It's
the
pretty deep,
indicator
and
for
I'm a
interact
little
in the
afraid of the
corner.
answer.
It's definitely a problem.
But that's not what that interact points to. It points to either object on either side of the phone.
You to answer, Alex. Obviously, this question is aimed at either the Essentia 2000 or myself.
So, if each reality is drastically different
I like how
from each other,
Michael dunked on
what
Alex
does
for
it
a
mean
second
if
there, but
two realities share
why
a
would
common
he expect
concept?
Chandra to ask him
Does
questions
this
now?
make this concept
Because
more
obviously he's
real?
become enlightened. He's no longer in need of his worldly possessions like shirts.
Similarities between each reality.
I feel like there needed to be a discussion that Michael had with the rest of the characters just outside of Alex, because even though we kind of take it as fait accompli that he's already had the discussion that he had on that snowy hill with Alex and the rest of the party simultaneously, we never got to see any reaction from anybody else to this transformation that he's undertaken.
Okay, fine. Does the concept of God
Even
exist
that
in all
whole
realities?
idea of Michael becoming Proto-Michael, you know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of an anime that got syndicated, but they had to drop a few episodes to make
So,
the
are you
cut.
saying in some realities God is
There
a present
must have just
force
been like
that
a
you
good
can get
2
direct
hours of
feedback
cutting
from?
room floor material that explains how Michael got to this point.
So then, if God made
This
all
story
the
is not
realities
Romance of
and
the
yet
Three
doesn't
Kingdoms. It's
exist
not a
in
case where
some,
they can
does
just
this make
pick
God less
certain
important?
details to
Less
leave
omnipotent?
out and just assume that the
If
audience
there is a
knows
God
what's
in
being
one
referred
reality and
to
not in
because it's
another,
one of the most
Why
famous
would God
stories
make
in
a
human
reality
history.
that doesn't have him in
Well,
it?
maybe this is
That
one of these
seems
things
pretty
where they
bogus to
also
me.
were thinking maybe we'll
Almost
do
like the
episode
people who
Michael
get God
as
in their reality
DLC.
are lucky,
Oh,
or less
good
lucky, depending
lord.
on how you look at
DLC
it.
for this game. Can you imagine?
I can
She's lying.
actually. Episode Michael.
Who is?
The Essentia 2000 is lying. She doesn't know if there is a God in another reality. I've
Oh,
seen
is
many
there going to
realities,
be
and some do not have the word
sick
God.
theological
or have a concept of
beatdowns in this
spirituality.
episode?
Apparently.
There's no reality that directly has a God or does not. She can't know the answer to this question. She is lying.
How does he know
I
that,
don't
though?
know what to believe.
There might be a God. There might not be. Don't let a piece of electronic junk, no offense, tell you what to do.
How do you
Okay,
call
if
someone a
she's leaving,
piece
I'm
of junk
gonna
and
get
then
outta
say
here.
no
Way
offense?
too many
I guess
people.
maybe this Michael hasn't changed that much after all.
How does Essentia not beat the
Alex,
shit out of
listen
him
to
for
me.
that?
Something is seriously wrong here.
I know.
feel
Why
it.
does your chest hair
It's in
grow
the
like
air.
that?
The air is different. The light is different. Everything this reality knows to be true feels wrong. It's as if everything is in flux. Can you feel it? Alex,
Look, man, I'm getting tired. Let's sleep on that.
We also got another Ultima weapon for that.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's something. I mean, don't you normally have to do side quests and stuff to make that happen?
I want to say that you could get away with something like this in the game's 7th Dragon 3.
I'm not familiar.
3DS RPG, last in a series, yet the only one that actually got localized, so, you know, there's that. But no, towards the end of it, there's this whole thing where you do this kind of otherwise inconsequential side quest portion with the rest of the main cast, and just as you build up their social link with them, at the very end you get to have a conversation with them that leads to you unlocking ultimate weapons. Not necessarily for them, but for people in your party.
Sure, but that can make sense depending on the context. You know, if it's something where the weapon is a manifestation of this character's power and growth, you know, that sort of thing, that would make more sense.
Unfortunately, in 7th Dragon 3, it is just a matter of, hey, I really care about you, don't die, here, have this awesome weapon.
So the game has actually caught on to my wily tricks, and it's decided that it doesn't want to give me any more free 100 XP for everybody bits.
I suppose there are only so many cutscenes where we can have discussions of no real consequence with an enlightened being and the gestalt of several people that we've met/haven't met.
But look at all of these side quests and stuff that we can do now. I'm so looking forward to spending the next month going from here to the other end of civilization. So you can see here, if you go kind of down the list, they're referring to various things that you can do, and this is sort of where they're starting to put the side quests in. I don't actually know, I guess, if they have been doing this throughout the game, but I've checked Onism several times, and just like, suddenly you have a plethora of these to do.
Yeah, and the key issue from my perspective is the fact that, well, I can sort of get that it's trying to maintain this very kind of natural-looking appearance of a late 90s website in its design and its aesthetic. Nothing about it from the perspective of gameplay seems to very clearly indicate what's supposed to be side quest versus what's supposed to be just flavor text, if that makes any sense.
Absolutely. That's a fair criticism to leverage against it, I think. It's one of these things where when you want to do these kind of built-in interfaces that games have done in the past, like Dead Space had a really good one with the health bar being on the back of the suit, and Borderlands having it where all the windows for weapons would pop up right in the game world. With this, I think that's kind of what they were going for, this idea that it doesn't break immersion by putting in UI or HUD elements that take away your experience of the game. But doing it that way with such a distinctly non-advanced interface leaves a lot to be desired. In particular, like you said, it doesn't show clearly whether something is a side quest or whether it's just kind of fluff. The other complaint I have is that it doesn't actually show you when you've actually tracked down or completed the quests or made any progress.
Well, allow me to give you my literal first thought as to how something like that could have been addressed. What if all the side quests belonged in their own subforum?
That would be a great idea. One other idea I had would be something like you know how it has the little icons that say whether a thread has been read or not?
Right.
There's absolutely no reason that couldn't have been changed to be, for example, a little check mark if you've completed that side quest.
I think the only thing I noticed that was kind of like that is that when you do read a quest, a posting that seems to be related to some kind of side quest, it shows a little fire icon next to it.
Yes, because it's showing that it's hot, quote unquote. But that doesn't translate to this is potentially a side quest. Unless their side quests are just that lit.
Well, I suppose we'll have to take what we can get.
You know what else is lit? Our sick beats.
Retaliate.
I won't dispute that, given some of these numbers.
Alright, Essential, let's see what you can do.
Also, this is a new battle theme?
This one's actually been around a while, but we haven't heard it very much.
Yeah, because I almost want to say it reminds me of something that Hyperduck Soundworks might have made.
Not familiar with them.
Chris Geehan and David Byrne McCulloch, I want to say. They're two guys who did, among other things, the soundtracks to E.G. and Cosmic Star Heroine.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I'll have to check them out.
I think Dust and Elysian Tale is on their resume as well. Also, if you want to get sort of a retro-themed RPG that's pretty good, Cosmic Star Heroine's got a lot going for it.
Oh, no.
Oh, dear. Oh, I know who that is. Ugh.
Hey, guys, does anyone remember this gem?
Sigh.
Well, that didn't add a lot.
Other than, I guess, to piss off fans of Final Fantasy VII for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know where this comes from. Mom, you can still have the rest of the money. But you may have noticed that it's actually inflated in value.
Yes, indeed. But yeah, I guess... I really can't conceive of why that's there other than to just be like, hey guys, we've played RPGs too, I guess.
I think it really is there to just freak you out and make you feel like reality is crashing down around you. Why they chose Aerith from another game to make that point is completely beyond me.
I guess this presents an opportunity to ask that age-old question and your opinion on it. Is it spelled with an S or a TH?
Yes.
Well done. My answer was with the character Thorn.
Oh, thank God we did that stupid side quest in Mount Mixtape where we got the hiking stick.
Oh, I know where this is going, or I think I know where this is going. It's leading to a chain of deals that you have to make in order to acquire another ultimate something before the month is out.
Because every RPG has one of these.
Admittedly, some of them are kind of entertaining, like the ones that are in Shadow Hearts, for instance.
Yeah, but the ones that are entertaining because they're funny and stupid. Anyway, no, it's definitely not an upgrade to trade the hiking stick for a backpack, but it is worth it to me because I'm not using either piece of equipment right now, and I get 100 XP for everybody. That's kind of the way they reward you for doing these side quests, because as we firmly established, this game does not like to be inventive with how it rewards you for doing things you don't have to do.
I mean, he could have just given us money for some reason.
Yeah, that would make some sense. We literally could not have completed that side quest if we did not get a unique piece of equipment from a location in Mount Mixtape that we didn't have to go to.
I'm preparing to dispute that tooltip about how video games are not a waste of time.
No, some video games are not a waste of time.
Anyway, I guess we might as well check up on the abandoned factory. I am kind of curious to know if snow neutralizes toxic gunk.
That is a good question, but it's not the one we're here to answer.
Why is this suddenly a thing?
Because they mentioned going to the reservoir because somebody had seen an alien here. That is not what I expect aliens to look like.
I mean, there's a cuteness to it, I guess.
I mean, yes, but it's almost like they just took a render of Nights into Dreams and then, did a color to alpha on it. I don't know, it doesn't sit well with me.
Yeah, but you are still nailing these prompts, so...
Yeah, fortunately at this point we're not really in any real danger. We have Bella with us, so we can just straight up do the banish, because as we established at the mall, there literally is no other way to deal with soul survivors in this game besides to have Bella in your party alive and using banish. Though, I think that the Ascension 2000 in her intro cutscene also just murdered some soul survivors. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct.
I don't know if I ever actually test that to see whether or not she can still do it.
Well, it is her turn, so I guess we're gonna find out what your decision is.
Did you notice how charge changed over to defend immediately when I moved?
I did not.
I don't know if that's a bug or not. I think it's a bug.
See ya!
What was that?
That was fella going see ya with a voice that we haven't really heard before.
Is that what she said? It sounded like she said Villa, like she was trying to pronounce the name of Pancho Villa.
Oh.
I don't know what actually hit me there.
I want to say that the hitboxes for the attacks appear before the graphics for the attacks do.
Yeah. Well, I know this particular minigame has some pretty major response issues, so I wouldn't put it past them.
Alex!
Whatever. Let's just bide our time for another turn.
So I guess one other question I might have about the setting as we've seen it is, beyond the fact that they don't seem to have a winter tile set for the battlefield, do you know anything about them having those big Dutch-style windmills in New Jersey?
No. I thought we were transported to La Mancha for a minute, to be honest with you. We'll deal with him later. But we did complete a side quest, so... Yeah, this is the way the game likes to make sure you're not getting through the side quest too fast. Whenever you do one, it will immediately pop you back home and end the day, because you're getting tired.
I mean, Morgana was the one who told us that after talking to our friends for a day, it gets really late and we should really go to bed, so I suppose this game had to horn in on that as well.
I guess that's true. I think it's more that they just wanted to make sure you had something to do every day, which, I mean, from a game design perspective, I kinda understand that.
I mean, it's balanced, but it's definitely irritating in light of the time limits that are involved.
Yeah, but it's really only irritating to me because this has never been an issue, you know, throughout the entire campaign to this point. It's almost like Alex just decided he wanted to be really lazy toward the end of the year. That was an interesting bit.
Yeah, I kind of glanced over at it quickly, but yeah, the whole... Well, that it would possibly fill in the gaps on Panda is... Well, at least they're trying to resolve something.
Panda is a greater cosmic entity.
Of course he is. What isn't?
Well, I think they probably stole that from, like, Noise and Tales of Symphonia. That sort of thing,
Sure.
Where it's like implied that other people have benefited from the guidance of an incognito divine entity. Of course, you know, I was a dum-dum and I didn't actually see that until just now, so y'all can pause the text if you want to read it.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Grandma Party, in his devotion to badness, decided to either screenshot or transcribe all of Onism, so there's that.
Oh my god. Grandma Party, I haven't been reading your thread because I want to avoid spoilers, but why would you do that to yourself? I mean, well done, seriously, but...
I think it was just screenshots, but I don't know. We'll have to verify this at a later date. By the way, yes, in case you hadn't heard, I have been seeking refuge from this LP and Grandma Party's LP very briefly, so I don't know if you've given Jimmy and the Pulsating Mass a try before, but...
Well, I wasn't going to, but now I know I'm definitely not going to.
Oh, but it's really good, though.
I have heard it's super good. I haven't gotten around to reading the LP, but I know it's been a big hit.
So, real question, why do you suppose they didn't just palette swap the background for the winter texture?
LP? That would make too much sense in the context of Y2K. Also, it would probably require some amount of work.
Alright, here's one for you. Why are the Essentia 2000's eyes violet in combat?
because she's in her angry mode.
That's fair.
You weren't expecting me to have an answer for that, were you?
I was not. My default answer would have been that yes, at some point the Allensons wanted to prove that they had played Xenosaga at some point, but...
So they just made her eyes violet?
It's a thing in Xenosaga specifically that Cosmos' eyes become red when she's under the influence of something else.
There was also a Tales of game that did something along those lines. I think it was the ill-advised sequel to Tales of Symphonia. Also, did you see my numbers for El Pitos that time?
I'm afraid I missed them, but I mean...
We are up to the 900s.
Oh, good lord.
Unfortunately, the rest of our party is not quite capable of dealing those numbers.
Well, I mean...
And Rory is Rory, so...
Rory's always gonna come up a little short on that regard, but,
Well, I mean, now that he has all that strength from his Ultima weapon...
might as well go for it.
Rory is the Edward of this game.
Well... I mean, as Final Fantasy Free Enterprise shows, sometimes Edward can come in handy. Sometimes.
I discovered this area, and I don't know whether or not it's actually important to the plot later.
It appears to be some kind of news station, or at least that's what I tend to see when I see an acronym ending in NN.
I think so. I don't know what the K stands for. I didn't hit anything, but it doesn't even matter.
I want to say that the K stands for Y2K.
That actually makes a lot of sense.
The 1000 News Network.
Come on, Bella.
How far she's fallen from primary damage dealer.
Alex!
Who, Bella?
Yeah.
Well, she was only the primary damage dealer for Soul Survivors. I don't think damage was ever her strong suit.
I mean, it was, if you remember some of the Sura chapters before we basically ran away with LP Toss's damage. There was a point during which her single target attack was, I think, the most damaging thing we could throw out there.
I have no idea what's going on with this song. It decided to key change for a minute there.
I don't know about you, but I don't intend to ask 8-Bit Music Theory for their take on this soundtrack anytime soon.
Oh man, that would be an adventure. Yeah, I'm not really in the mood to fight any monsters today, thanks. I just want to do my side quest and go home. Unfortunately, this game just won't let me.
I suppose my question then is, which side quest are you looking to do specifically? Because we went on Onism and saw quite a few options.
Yeah, specifically, I was looking for a couple that mentioned that they were at the mall. It sure is lucky that nothing in the overworld threatens me at this point. I just wish that I wouldn't getting combat encounters every 10 steps. This is Final Fantasy 1 levels of bullcrap.
I want to say Breath of Fire 2 still managed to be worse, but at the very least, you're gonna see it draw to a close pretty soon.
Gosh, I hope so. I want to get on with the plot. That's the university. Nope, still can't go there. I don't know if it's... Was it always this bad, the encounter rate?
I don't think it was for the overworld, no. I think it's just increased with this newfound focus on needing to gain those levels.
Probably. Damn it, I'm gonna run out of HP before I even get to where I'm trying to go.
Well, as we've established, that's probably not actually that much of an issue given the presence of Chandra and LP toss.
LP toss! No, it's not. But it is very, very annoying.
Dude!
Come on, Essential, let's see what you can do. I wish I could reliably do the Essentia's minigame for attacking without actually using any time energy. Hers seems like it's by far the most difficult, and I don't know why.
I can tell you why. It's because it speeds up consistently and also doesn't start at a consistent rate, or at least it doesn't seem to.
No, I mean, I get that, but what I mean is, why from a game design perspective does it make any sense to make the Ascension 2000's attack minigame the hardest one?
I guess to show that she's as the character who comes in the latest and theoretically at the highest stats, it requires there to be kind of a gate of mastery to unlocking her full potential just to make it seem like it's worthwhile learning her abilities.
But there's nothing to really master with the Essentia. We've already firmly established that when it comes to bosses, I can always just lock them down with Sleep Shot. The Essentia is not actually that helpful for anything in the face of LP toss.
Well, again, I think there's what we ended up with in terms of how this game works mechanically, and what I think was meant to be intended by the question that you just asked, so.
Yeah. I don't know, I think I'm just falling into the trap of assuming that this is how the game is intended to be played.
Yes, because, lest we forget, a lot of RPGs outside of maybe ones made by whichever dev team made the likes of Bravely Default and Octopath Traveler, that any mechanic that ultimately breaks a game is really not completely intended on the part of the developers, but is still usually the result of mechanics interacting in ways that are comprehensible.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, it's more just a matter of, well, I guess there is comprehensibility. It's more the fact that
there's a single solution to the whole system.
Yes, something more than a cursory glance needed to be made at Alex's character and how he was designed it to function in combat to sort of stave off the possibility of a player just going, oh, if I literally just pump all his points into luck and make sure he has enough PP to use LP toss, then this game is trivialized in combat.
This seems like one of these things where if they had any playtesters, and that is a big if with this game, they probably built Alex in a completely different way, and it was like, well, this is clearly what the average player is going to do, so we're going to balance around that. This is the side quest I was looking for. We've got to put up some missing posters of Semi Park. I don't know why those were there before. Did that lady come back here and do that earlier in the game?
Also, that is some of the most kind of bland meta-narrative I've ever seen.
I know. I was so disappointed. It's like, I thought she was actually going to offer me an explanation for why she couldn't tell me where the other 5 locations are. But I'll spoil it for you and say that after a good 10 minutes, I can tell you they're not in the mall.
I'm also going to say that I saw a dude named Andrew there who made a voter fraud joke, and I'm just like, is that really the direction you wanted to take that?
That has aged like milk, bud. This was the other side quest I was looking for. I was actually planning on doing this tomorrow, but then when I realized the poster thing wasn't going to pan out, and just said kind of like, well, after the first 10 minutes, I was just like, fuck it, I'm not going to do the side quest. And then I started looking for the kid.
Well, I suppose we got off easy today in that respect, so maybe...
We got $400 that don't mean anything.
Maybe next time we'll will be able to complete a side quest of some consequence.